Calling all lovers of mystery and fans of a good story. If you haven't already heard me talk about June's Journey, you're in for a treat. It's time to don your detective hat in this free hidden object mobile game that delves into the captivating journey of June Parker, a self-proclaimed detective on a quest to unravel the mystery surrounding her sister's untimely death. In June's Journey, you get to play as June, deciphering clues and unveiling secret plots within thousands of beautifully illustrated scenes. And did I mention it's set in the glitzy 1920s? New chapters are added weekly, so you will never run out of new thrills to uncover, and you can also personalize and decorate your very own Orchid Island where the story takes place. How sharp are your detective skills? Find out when you download June's Journey on your Android or iOS device, or play online via Facebook Games. Your detective journey awaits.
Hey there, it's Rachel Ballinger, and I am thrilled to invite you to Rachel Uncensored, my podcast where I get real with my friends and celebrity guests, where we talk about all sorts of topics. From personal stories to hot-button issues, we cover it all. New episodes drop every Wednesday, so make sure you tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the fun and candid conversations we have here on Rachel Uncensored.
In 2005, two brothers hit the road to chase demons and fight monsters.
Fighting a couple of angels, too.
And eventually save the world.
A bunch of times. Over 15 years, this series has built one of the most dedicated fan bases in all of entertainment, and that fan base is near and dear to our hearts.
That's right. I'm Rob Benedict. I played Chuck Shirley, a.k.a. God.
And you do a darn good job, too, buddy.
Aw, thanks.
Look, I'm Richard Spade Jr. I played Loki, the Trickster, and Gabriel, and I directed a bunch of episodes.
Wow, is that it?
Well, I directed you. I don't know. What do you think?
Though we worked on the show for years, we never sat down and watched the entire series.
But that was then, and this is now.
That's right. We are watching each episode and inviting the actors, the writers, producers, and crew to join us in digging into the story, the characters, and the mythology.
These guests share some fantastic behind-the-scenes stories with us. You're going to love those, and you're going to get our honest opinion about each and every episode. That's right. Those guests share some fantastic behind-the-scenes stories with us, and each episode gets a full, honest, and unfettered review from Rob and Rich. And you get to learn a little bit about how TV is made. Lord knows we have.
A warning, there are spoilers. And don't get frustrated that we haven't cut details for multiple viewings or that we know what happens 3 seasons from now. This is the first time we're watching these episodes. And you're there for the ride as we watch with our virgin eyes.
Oh, that's creepy. Thanks for joining us on our journey as we deepen our understanding about why you love this series so much.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rob Benedict.
And I'm Richard Spate.
And we're talking about Season 5, Episode 8, a little episode that gets unnoticed. I feel like it doesn't wind up on a lot of people's top 10
Yeah, nobody
lists, so
talks
maybe
about
it
this.
should. Yeah. And it's called Changing Channels.
No. Don't change the channel. Stay here and listen to our podcast. We're going to talk about a great episode, much beloved by the fandom. Robbie, what's the episode called?
Well, it's called Changing Channels.
No. We don't want that to happen. We want people to stay on this channel with us to listen to this podcast about this supernatural episode. Last week we did 507. Now we're doing 508. Robbie, title it for me, please.
Changing Channels. I don't know. Well, listen. Tell a friend how much you're enjoying the podcast.
Now don't tell them to then listen to it.
No. Just tell them. And they're going to be like, well, why are you telling me that?
No, you
like,
tell
I
them
just
to
wanna tell
join the
somebody.
podcast and then just leave it at that. No, that's not true deal, Brett.
Right. So tell a friend, because we want more people to know about this podcast so we can keep doing it for you because we really
Right,
enjoy
and people love watching Supernatural more than once, more than twice, more than thrice. And you can get your friends to now learn more about the show that they think they know everything about. They don't know everything about it. We bring on guests who tell new things all the time. Cast members, crew members, creators, and they all talk about the show through the lens of their own perspective. And they learn and we learn, and together we learn.
So do that. And we're going to get into just lured you in. And now we're going to...
Okay?
I just couldn't find the word. We've lured you in, and now we're going to talk about 2 episodes, this episode and the following episode, I really feel like, I just want to say, and I'm not saying it because we're in it, but I do feel like the show has reached a really cool peak. I mean, this whole season's been great. It's all been sort of like, I just feel
Been
like
pretty good,
it's really rocking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
So many of these episodes are fan favorites, I know.
I know there's like 22 episodes in the season. I think they might have, climbed to the mountain peak a little bit too early because this is not the middle of the season, but definitely 8 and 9. I have not seen the rest of the season. There's no way it's better than these episodes.
Well, I have a feeling that it is because I know a couple of them.
And they're real turds, right?
No, I'm just saying it keeps going. Like it really is like as a show. It's
well, we'll see because these are pretty. This is a high water mark, man. I don't know. We're at the top of the mountain. I like the view up here.
I know you do. Well, let's get into why. This episode's credits start with a unique parody of Supernatural as an 80s sitcom opening credit scene. It cuts to 2 weeks earlier, and Sam walks in on Dean watching an episode of Dr. Sexy MD.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You made a great point about the credits.
Right. Well, I was off air, but I was saying that this might be the first time in the show that actors' names are shown with the credits. And certainly it's the first time that among the guest stars that Richard Speight Jr.'s name is up top.
Yeah, man. Crazy.
It's awesome.
It felt natural to me. It felt like it worked. It felt like it belonged.
And by the way, that opening sequence is worth the whole episode. Like that is just so freaking funny. It's so the sitcoms of our youth.
Oh my God, the over the top camp BS. They nailed it. They nailed the parody.
Yeah, him getting grease on his forehead and then like laughing about it,
but also like I'm going to need a bigger mouth.
Yeah,
the
that
button,
whole thing.
button, laugh.
Yeah. In the title sequence, like them going back to back and then running.
Oh my God! And on the bike.
Oh, you. Yeah, and the bike is great. It's like a whatchamacallit. That kind of reminded me of what's the sitcom with the 2 ladies?
Three's Company?
No, the 2 ladies in Milwaukee. It's spinoff of
Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, Laverne and Shirley. Anyway, okay, so we cut to 2 weeks earlier, and Sam walks in on Dean watching an episode of Dr. Sexy MD. Sam mocks Dean for his choice in shows. The brothers leave to investigate a strange death. The victim's spouse says it was a bear. But after some further questioning, the wife admits that she believes she saw the Incredible Hulk, the 70s Lou Ferrigno one, rampage through her house and kill her husband. So are we supposed to think that that was Lou Ferrigno?
I don't think so. I think we're supposed to think that when I take my shirt off, I'm ripped like Lou Ferrigno and it was me.
Okay. No, but I mean, what? So you're just kind of luring them in by doing that?
Yeah, I think I'm taunting the fellows by using TV
Or was she
tropes.
in on it? Is she in on it or no?
No, she's not in on it.
Okay. So the boys put clues together and realize that they're dealing with a trickster. Now, when was the last time we saw you?
You came to the house on Friday.
Can you just take anything I say seriously?
Okay. Well, I mean, no, but okay.
When was the last time we saw your character?
Season 3, I was a little confused by it.
Mystery Spot.
Yeah, but when was Mystery Spot? Season 3, right?
Season 3.
So we haven't seen Trickster for an entire season.
Right. And did he end Mystery Spot? Was the last time we saw him like, see you later, snap, buzz away, or did they kill him?
I don't think we ever reviewed Mystery Spot.
We did.
I don't think we did, or we didn't spend enough time on it.
Well, we did spend a lot of time on it, but the point is, do you know at the end how we left the trickster, if he died or if he's... Okay.
No, he didn't die. I think he said, you guys got to do your thing or else, and poof, he goes away.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
You'd know if you'd watched the nice interview we did with the people behind that episode when we reviewed that episode that you don't even remember.
I'm just trying to be inquisitive and do my job, Yeah,
you're reading up the paper. It says, be inquisitive, !
So they put together, they're dealing with a trickster, not a trickster, the trickster. Dean is ready to kill him. However, Sam wants to approach the trickster and see if he might be an ally. He may have an interest in the world not ending.
Right.
So Sam and Dean listen in on a police scanner and hear about a possible murder at a warehouse.
Warehouse, like the old record store?
No. They go to investigate. Upon entering the warehouse, they find themselves instantly transported into the world of Dr. Sexy MD. Dr. Sexy himself approaches Sam and Dean. Dean is instantly starstruck, but quickly realizes it is the trickster in disguise.
I got to say, that whole world, though, of them kind of walking through there and Dean going, oh my God, that's the sassy but intelligent.
Yeah.
Everything is a blah, 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 but brilliant. It's like
right.
the neurotic but brilliant
And
neurosurgeon, the angry but brilliant.
but I think it begins with sexy too. A lot of me go, that's the sexy but brilliant.
Yeah.
And also love the woman who comes up and slaps Sam.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah, you're a genius. So yeah, anyway, and then we finally see you for the first time, the Trickster.
Boom.
And that tricky little Trickster tells them that they're in a game and need to survive. He'll then answer their questions.
Yeah, if they survive, he'll answer. Not if they don't survive.
Right. And he doesn't, he says he won't tell them the rules.
No rules.
He just says they're in a game.
You're in a game.
So a man approaches Dean to give his wife a face transplant.
Right.
Dean doesn't play along and is shot by the man. So Sam improvises and plays along as a surgeon. He saves Dean's life. Once he does, the boys find themselves transported to being contestants on an over-the-top Japanese game show. Dean saves them from this scenario by believing he can speak Japanese. He actually does speak Japanese here.
Yeah, but he conjures it somehow, like he doesn't really know, but just by deciding to play along with the game, he channels speaking Japanese.
Castiel arrives to rescue them, but is quickly sent away by the Trickster. So
I gotta say, people love the whole Nutcracker bit with that actor.
So funny.
Nutcracker.
Yeah. So when I came up to Vancouver directly after you to do the next episode, they were still talking about this guy. They're like Jensen and Jared were talking about the host of that show and how funny he was, and they kept doing the whole Nutcracker. And they're, you got to see it, man. You got to see it. And they're imitating that guy. So I kind of knew about that before it aired because
that whole hand gesture is super funny.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. Yeah. So and the questions he's asking them are funny too. It's so. I mean, I love the fourth wall just being broken down here.
I love that, and I also love the shrimp potato chip commercial they do in the middle of the thing.
Oh my God. And this next thing, the herpes commercial, which is fantastic.
Genius. Herpexia.
After a herpes commercial featuring Sam, the brothers find themselves in a sitcom, laugh track and all.
Yep.
Castiel arrives again, warning them that the Trickster seems too powerful, but gets zapped away again. The Trickster tells the brothers they need to play along.
They do.
Not just in this TV show world, but in real life. They need to be vessels for Michael and Lucifer. The brothers are now in a cop show. They find the Trickster and believe they've defeated him after killing an innocent guy just sucking on a lollipop. The next morning, they wake up and Sam is now part of the Impala.
Hold on? Do you know that cop show they were spoofing? Do you recognize what it was?
Of course.
What show?
Kit from Knight Rider.
No. The cop show.
They were doing CSI Miami.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if that holds up now for the audience.
Why? Just because that was just of the moment?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Dr. Sexy kind of looks like any medical show. The game show could be any medical show or any game show.
Yeah.
And even the
sitcom is any
Knight Rider has like sort of a kitsch classic thing, but CSI Miami I don't think is quite the classic. And the David,
what's his name? Yeah.
Caruso sunglass bit.
Yeah. They both did a good job there too.
Yeah.
So Dean calls out the Trickster and says they're ready to say yes. However, it's a ruse. They tricked the Trickster. The Trickster is tricked. The tricky becomes the Trickster. And he quickly traps the Trickster in a ring of fire.
I remember that, man, because I was there as the Trickster talking to the boys. And then, dude, I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down. And the flames, I don't know how to do this, it just rose higher. And it burned. What, this
like
ring of fire.
Like a ring of fire? Huh.
Ring of fire.
Ring of fire, okay. So
love.
Yeah. Okay. We got it. So
it's a burning thing.
Was that real or was that effect? The fire.
It was effect, and then they used that flame bar that they put under the camera to create like the sort of licking flames.
But you were never literally in a ring of fire.
No, I think at one point they put there was never a ring of fire, but they put like the flame bar around at some point as a reference, and then they had lights that looked like flames.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, once trapped, by the way, I like your baggy jeans. You really working those baggy jeans.
I was working those sort of almost bell-bottom-y baggy jeans and the shoes that were very on the day. I like, hip.
But, I have to say, again, I'm not just saying this. Everyone is firing on all cylinders here. Like, you possibly look better than you've looked in any of the episodes. Like, your hair's great. And honestly, in the next episode, I feel like my hair's never looked better. I feel like hair and makeup are on fire. Like, the writing's great. The directing is top notch.
Agreed.
Okay, so once trapped, the Trickster for the first time here, reveals his true identity. This whole time, he was the Archangel Gabriel. And Gabriel insists that the boys must be the vessels and that one brother will have to kill the other brother. To break the stalemate, Gabriel brings Castiel back. Dean agrees to free Gabriel, and they go their separate ways. And later, Sam asks Dean what he thought about what Gabriel said, and Dean tells him to not think about it, but he's concerned.
Yeah, he's concerned. And it's hard to stop thinking about Gabriel, I get it.
Well, I don't know about that, but so were you you were Gabriel the whole time?
Turns out, yeah.
And you took an interest in the boys because this is family business for you.
Yeah, and they're going to wrap up the whole thing and fight each other, and it's going to be representative of the battle that's been going on in the heavens, and it's going to help sort of bring the whole war to a head, if you will.
I like the way you mentioned me a little bit. You mentioned your dad. I thought that was sweet, kind of cute. I was like, "Oh, Rich." Well, I mean,
my dad.
Yeah. So this is look. There's a reason that this is a classic episode. I mean, which is the episode where you're in the porno?
Oh, Hammer of the Gods.
Hammer of the Gods. There it is. Let's do the RRR thing.
Okay, we can do that. I'm going to do the intro song that I wrote. You ready? Give me an A flat, Rob. Rob and Rich. Ratings.
This is a great time to tell you Rich has a new album out.
The mating call of the sea lion.
Look, this episode, there's a reason it's on everyone's top 10 list. It's so good. It's so fun to see the different TV shows. I mean, how great is that? And the boys, their comedy chops are so great. And at the same time, they can turn and have a serious moment and still bring the serious part as well. That's what this show does so well. It rides the line, some episodes more than others, but, between comedy and drama. And you're great. You're really great in it, and your characters are super fun. And like I said, just firing on all cylinders here. So
thanks, man. And it's a great episode. I mean, obviously I'm biased because I'm in it, and I like it. But just as an episode, to your point, the spoofing of television, and Charles Beeson nails the style of each TV show perfectly. Yeah. And that's no easy feat.
Right.
Also, just while we're talking sitcom, it is funny how, dated it is. There's a girl in a bikini coming out of the bathroom.
Yes.
Yes. Woo! With the audience,
totally
hooting and hollering.
Well, remind me of what was the show with Charlie Sheen? 2 men and a
3 men and a baby.
2.5 men.
Oh, 2.5 men.
2.5 men was like that.
I actually thought about it. Okay,
what did you say, Rich?
3 men and a baby. That's a movie. That's
3 men and a baby. Yeah, 3 men and a baby. That old Charlie Sheen vehicle. But no, 2.5 men, and because they're always like some skimpy bathing suit on that show.
It's always something like that. It's always something crazy.
All right, so we're gonna get into it, but super fun to shoot. Do you have good memories?
Yeah, man. I mean, I had a lot to do in that episode. It was really cool. That scene in the warehouse was like a freaking one-act play. It took a long time for camera setups, but it was one of those things where Jared Jensen and I were totally dialed in. So we just did it, or did the scene over and over again. And that was cool because it was like doing theater. It was such, it goes over the act break. It's a long scene and no blocking. 3 dudes standing there. So it's all about cool camera moves, and Charles put that water on the floor of the warehouse and, made it look all awesome.
Yeah.
So he did a great job shooting it, and it was super creative. And honestly, I remember, talking about Charles Beeson, who directed this episode, who passed away of a heart attack during COVID. One of the great directors of Supernatural and a great television director overall. But he gave me a note, and he was not a huge note guy. He didn't come in with a lot of things to say.
Okay.
But he gave me a note, and I bring it up because to this day, this episode is very popular, and this little clip, this line reading, was a note from him. And it's when I say that I'm Gabriel. The whole time I've been playing it, I remember this. I played it like, fine, I'll tell you who I am. Twist the knife and you just kind of give up the information. And he came over and he's like, nah, say it with a little pride. So when you say it, kind of own it. Like, this is who I am, motherfucker. And
it's more powerful.
And then I did it. And I'm like, oh, felt better when I did it. And then I see that clip all the time. I'm like, that's a Beeson note, man. That's good directing.
That's awesome.
It is not where I went naturally, and where he steered me was a better place. And I mean, as many times as I've had to see that clip, I always make you think of him and how simple a note can steer something so dramatically.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that kind of thing. It reminds me of a story of when Paul McCartney talks about writing Hey Jude, and he goes, this is all I have right now is the movement you need is on your shoulder, but it's like, that's just a placeholder. And John was like, don't change that. That's my favorite line in the song. So, because he wrote that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, and so Paul always thinks that when he writes it. So anyway, but that's cool.
And by the way, if I may say, while on the subject of Beeson and the directing of this episode, the scene in Dr. Sexy MD on the TV show where the actors freeze,
was
set up to be a visual effect.
Right.
They were going to have us do it, then move, shoot the background actors, and then freeze that frame and drop into green screen, and we were going to act in front of a green screen. And the background performers were so good at freezing that we didn't have to do the visual effect. That's just the actors standing perfectly still.
I remember you told me that story a couple months ago, or I think you might have told it at a convention. Anyway, and then I saw that. I'm like, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, and Charles Beeson was blown away, and he was effusive to the background actors. He's like, thank you so much. You saved me an hour. You guys are awesome. Like, this works. Then they would literally, somebody off camera, like an AD, would go 3, 2, 1, I'd snap, so they'd know when to stop, and they would just stop.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, now Richard's doing it, everybody.
There you go, and scene.
Caliber
of work.
Yeah, see, that's why you need real background actors, not AI, because AI wouldn't be able, actually they would. They'd be able to.
But they wouldn't be glad when you clap for them.
True.
AI wouldn't care.
Okay, so I'm going to give this a unique rating for me. I'm going to give it the Chris Stapleton. I'm going to give it the Chris Stapleton because in honor of you, because it's a great episode, and I'm giving it the full Stapleton as a sort of salute to Richard Speight, Junior period.
That's high praise, and I appreciate that. I would have gone Stapleton as well, simply because I think it's such a solid episode. So in parallel, I'll give it and this only happened very briefly, one very brief time, but you mentioned Paul McCartney. I'm going to give it the old Paul McCartney full beard phase of the Beatles.
Nice.
Which is a thick black beard.
Yeah.
Looks phenomenal. Completely... doesn't even elevates who Paul is in a different kind of way.
Absolutely.
Not that clean-shaven Paul isn't also dashing, but I'm going to go full-on McCartney. I don't remember what year that was, but that's the Let It Be
67,
year.
Let It Be, 68.
Yeah, so there you go.
All right, good job, everybody. Well done. All right, now we're going to get into an interview, with the man himself. That's right. We have an interview with Eric Kripke talking about this episode. We just can't wait. We can't wait to do it. We can't wait to play it for you. And in fact, that's what we're going to do right now. Here's our interview with Eric Kripke. Such a pleasure to have back with us creator, writer, executive producer of the show, Mr. Eric Kripke. Hello, Eric.
Hey guys, I just like hanging out with you.
We love hanging out with you.
That's why I'm here.
Lie one, right there. You just out of the gate. You just tell
first words out of his mouth. Fucking
lie. I believe the "hey guys" part. After that, it was just a toilet of lies.
So Eric, I was saying that at this point, episode 8, season 5, I feel like the show is really on a high. I feel like it's like all cylinders are firing, and like it's like the writing's great, the directing's terrific. You really dialed into a lot of the characters, and like these 2 episodes, changing channels and then into Ghostbusters is like just top notch. It's just the show is really working.
Oh, I honor your truth.
Did you feel that when you were working on it? Did you feel like, oh man, this is...
I think there was, look, there was a certain confidence that came from, we knew what we were doing at that point, and we had the latitude from the network to just like take swings to make an episode like Changing Channels. Like, you just have to have a certain potentially stupid confidence, but confidence to just say like, yeah, we're just going to play with the form.
Yeah.
You guys had dabbled with that a little bit before. I mean, as Rob and I are sort of going back and watching everything in order, you'll do something, that monster movie. You'll do something like out of the blue that just takes the whole thing and turns it on its ear. And we look back on this now and go, wow, those are great episodes. But that's risky. Like that is risky stuff.
I mean, it would be risky if you felt like anyone was watching your show at the time. But because we really felt we were just kind of like off in the corner doing our thing, that we were just trying to entertain ourselves. I mean, at no point did I ever like feel like, oh, there's stakes if this doesn't work for me personally.
Wow.
Like, it was just like, let's just try it, man. You know, like they're letting us get away with it. Yeah, I mean, I think the network didn't particularly, even in those years, understand us all that much. Although to be fair, now that I'm thinking about it, like there were the years that Mark Pedowitz came on, and I forget in what season he came on, but he actually genuinely liked all that stuff and was supportive of it. And I forget what point that was, but either way, we were just kind of interested in taking swings. I love that stuff. I mean, my favorite episodes of the X-Files, which, was a big inspiration for Supernatural, obviously, were the crazy change-ups that Darren Morgan usually wrote. Like every so often Buffy would have a change up that was really exciting. And like, I always loved that stuff. And I'm just like, I'm always drawn to like meta material anyway. I just think it's fun just as a personal taste. And so anytime that you hand me the freedom and reins to do something, I will do that. I do it in The Boys all the time. Like I'll just suddenly break into a musical number or have an animated sequence, or it's just like fun to just f around with format.
100%. But here's a question. Going into this, you're going to f around with format. You're going to do something off script, but you also have a big mythology story point being delivered in this episode. Did you know, or did the gang know going into 508 that, okay, we've got to bring Gabriel into the story? How do we do that? And you found a way, you reverse engineered into that, or were both of those things pitches?
Wasn't this was the episode that it was revealed that your character was an angel and not just a trickster, right? Right. I mean, what I remember, and could totally be wrong, you'd have to ask Jeremy Carver, but what I remember was, oh man, we want to like put the guys into a TV and let them like bounce from show to show. And these things kind of take on their own logical line of questioning of well, how do we do that? And then he's like, well, there's only one character that could throw them into that situation, and that would be the trickster. And then we would say, okay, well, that makes sense. And, we'll bring back Rich, and that's awesome. And he'll be the trickster. But like, how do we make that fit with our mythology, though, of the story we're telling? And then someone's like, oh, what if he's an angel? And we go, great. Right. And it's just like these things. My guess is that's how it came. I doubt we knew. I don't remember knowing before this episode that you were an angel. It was more of like, we had these two puzzle pieces that we needed to fit together. And so then we did. A lot of it just comes out of just the logical problem solving of how to get to the episode you want to get to.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the episode, but we need to pull over because I got a tinkle.
Are you ready to shop? Rakuten's Big Give Week is back. Get 15% back at hundreds of stores, and it's all happening this week, May 6th to May 13th. It's the perfect time to shop for everything on your list for spring and summer, like clothing, outdoor gear, and travel. I know I'm using this week to stock up on some warmer weather essentials at Ray-Ban and Ulta, and I love that Rakuten even helps me save on travel at sites like Hotels.com. Rakuten really is the best way to shop, and you can save even more by stacking cash back on top of deals. Plus, during Big Give Week, that cash back is bigger than ever. With Rakuten, membership is free, and when you sign up and shop today, you get an extra 10% cash back boost. That's an extra 10% cash back on top of the 15% cash back. You won't see higher cash back rates than these. Go to Rakuten.com or download the Rakuten app. Rakuten. Shoppers get it. As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But we also sell merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell and grow at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. They have an all-in-one e-commerce platform and in-person POS system, so wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. With the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers. Shopify has allowed us to share something tangible with the podcast community we've built here, selling our beanies, sweatshirts, and mugs to fans of our shows without taking up too much time from all the other work we do to bring you even more great content. And it's not just us. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Shopify is also the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/REALM now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. And now back to the episode.
And this might be a fundamental question about season arcing at the beginning of the year, but I assume you knew that the archangels were going to come into play. But when you start season 5, at some point we're going to meet the archangels.
Yes.
Okay. And how mapped out is that? Like, do you know the order? Like, okay, first we're going to meet this dude. We're going to talk about Michael. Then we're going to meet Gabriel. Like, how does that play out?
Again, my memory of it, which is faulty, just because this is what we always did every season, which is like you want to map it out, but not so tightly that you can't be surprised by your writers, So like someone described it, who's smarter than me, said like it's a roadmap, and you're starting in LA and you want to end up in New York, and somewhere along the line you want to pass through Chicago. But in terms of like how you get there, there's 10 different roads, and you try not to know we very intentionally try not to know every single beat,
right?
Because we know we had to meet the archangels and we knew we had to have that whole storyline. But again, I'm not sure, but I heavily suspect that, but we didn't know who was what archangel. And so then this idea of making the Trickster one of them, and we get to have this episode, and then we have this crazy reveal, because anytime you can do a reveal where the audience thinks they know what it is and then they totally don't know, and it's just the messy, fuzzy process of just building.
Rich, what was your reaction when you found out, when you read the script and found out where the direction your character was going?
I remember thinking, because I don't think I'd done an episode. There's long gaps between doing episodes, so you'd go away and do something else and live your life, and you're like, "Oh, I'm going back."
What was the episode you did before? Was it Mystery Spot?
Mystery Spot would have been, which was a season before or 2 seasons before.
That would have been a season 3.
Yeah, season
episode,
3.
Yeah.
So I had been out of the loop for a minute, and I remember getting this one and reading it and going, "Oh, that's cool. I'm part of the big story. That's cool." I mean, you kind of, I felt at the time like I loved playing that character, but giving that character another layer and like, it's revealing to be something grander than we thought he was. I thought that was super awesome. And I remember arranging a phone call with Jeremy Carver to talk about it and go, "Hey, this is cool. So I'm Gabriel." And, they were sending me DVDs to watch what I could watch to catch up on the story,
right?
Because to remind our listeners, back then you couldn't just pop on Netflix and go back and watch the entire library of shows.
What?
And like, wait, what?
To blow a little smoke out of both of your poopers is part of what's great about network television is it evolves in a way that like the reason we gave your characters new levels is in a large part we're like, oh, they're cool. And we know that they can do it and they're fun to work with and they're awesome. So like, let's give them more.
Right.
conversely, there's a flip side of that, of like characters that you thought were gonna like, oh wow, they sure set them up to have a big story, and then it's like, well, what happened to that character? Is like, oh, they died. You didn't see it, but they died. And so that works the other way too. But you guys, it was like everything we gave you nailed, and you're a delight to work with, and so it was easy to say, hey, we're going to tie Rich into the overall big mythology of the show. And that's like a no-brainer. Same as it was for you, Rob. Like, it's a no-brainer because it's like, yeah, let's give them more to do. They're just fun to work with.
That's so awesome. And I tell you, in the world of guest star acting, that's usually not what you're given. You know what I mean? Like a different level.
Well, the lesson for aspiring actors out there is I can almost always say 99.9% of the time, if you're pleasant and a joy to work with, people want to work with you again, and you tend to, at least in my world, get hired a lot more than if you come in and, you're a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah. No assholes.
Yeah. Good note.
No asshole. Good note. So remember that next time.
Damn it. Good to know moving forward.
It's 2 strikes. You're 2 strikes in, and let's just we got one more strike.
Well, just to circle this one thing, Robbie, on talking to Carver. When I called Carver, I didn't know Jeremy. This is the first time I've spoken to him. And I said, hey, man, so I'm doing as much research as I can. I'm watching the episodes that they're sending me on DVD, and I've gone back and found all Gabriel references in the Bible.
Whoa.
And I just remember and read that. And I remember Jeremy, there's like a pause, and he's like, yeah, we don't so much go by the Bible. I'm like, oh, okay.
He's like, good for you. Good wow. Tell me. What is
I reread the Bible.
I just remember thinking that was really funny.
What other, did you consider mocking other shows besides the ones that you mocked?
So at the time, we were up against CSI and Grey's Anatomy.
Crazy.
Right?
2 juggernauts.
Yeah. And we were still feeling this, because if I remember correctly, if memory serves, we were moved to that night this season. And they were the biggest shows on TV, and we were comfortably starting to grow in our ratings in season 4. And then they move us to, they're like, okay, you seem to be doing good in ratings for your little show. We are going to send you into the biggest meat grinder we can think to send you.
The Coliseum.
We're going to send you to the Coliseum. Like, you did really well at your preschool playground. And so now we're going to throw you into the Coliseum.
Fighting lions.
And just see how you do. See how you do. And so we were like, Bob and I were bitter about that. So we had a chip on our shoulder against who we were up against and how unfair it was. So when it's starts to discuss okay, they're moving through this labyrinth of TV, what shows do they go to? The very first 2 out of the top of our heads was Grey's and CSI,
which is genius too, because it's genius. It's as if you're flipping channels on the day, right?
Right there, and we got to take the shots at those shows that we wanted to take shots at. Although I heard in afterwards, I never confirmed, but someone told me that they knew Shonda Rhimes and she watched it and loved it. And
that's cool.
It was hilarious. And so good. And then some of the other ones just kind of, Ben Edlund was really instrumental in that break as well. Not surprisingly.
Now I hear that rumor is Ben came up with the herpes commercial idea and the network pushed back.
That's very, very likely. Yeah. And which is another brilliant play of form of we're going to go to a commercial and you're going to think that it's really a commercial until Jared shows up.
It's so well done.
And the whole thing that's Jared having to say he's got genital herpes and he doesn't want to say it, but he has to. It's great.
And I like that Jensen comes out of character as the background actor playing basketball to go, hey man, you're the one who said this. Say the lines. It's so
that's awesome. The sitcom opening, I think, the cold open was one that just because I love that format. I don't remember who pitched it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was me. Because just I really loved the idea of those cheesy sitcom
the whole
sequences
bumping into each other.
Yeah, and the plot is explained in the song.
yeah, dude.
They're always written
the Albert
by Alan
Broccoli. Sherwood Schwartz. The Sherwood Schwartz model.
Yeah. But if you remember, Different Strokes, when you think of all the songs that Alan Thicke wrote, Different Strokes and the what was the school one, the spinoff?
Oh, the Mrs.
Garrett, Miss
Garrett
Garrett,
with the girls.
Facts of
Facts of
Life.
Life.
Facts of Life, yeah.
You know, so it's like all of those,
Totally.
you know, and to be clear, one thing I definitely remember is Carver wrote the lyrics to that song.
Wow. Yeah. Laverne and Shirley too. Yeah.
Right.
And them on the bikes.
Oh yeah. And then just all the dumb, you know, like,
Oh, shucks.
Gee.
As we talk about all this stuff coming out of the writer's room, you got to loop in the phenomenal execution by Charles Beeson.
Yeah.
Like
incredible.
Going from genre to genre to genre and absolutely nailing them. Because it's a fine line between spoofing. You know, if you spoof too hard, it's no longer funny. It's like it's a joke on a joke, right? So
yeah.
It has to feel like the show.
No, I mean, and God rest his soul. I mean, he was always one of the very best directors of that show. You know, I brought him on to be a producing director for my show after
Revolution.
Supernatural,
right?
Of Revolution, and then again on Timeless, yeah. So I adored him, and that was like a revelation for me because up to that point, he had done like really scary stuff for us and very serious stuff, and had a lot of style as a director, but like. What people might not know is you book all of your directors for the season before you come up with the storylines. And so what director gets what episode is a lot of times up to chance. You don't really have control over it. I mean, you guys know that, but for our audience at home. And so I don't know if I would have thought of Charles to catch like such a funny episode.
Right.
And then he like nailed it and so funny and such a, like, as you said, it's such a fine line, that tone of how do you play it straight? Like the straighter you play it, the funnier it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of directors wouldn't have that instinct of dry humor, and Charles just naturally gravitated towards it. I mean, one thing about that episode that's occurring, that like how Sam turns into the Impala
Kit
in the Knight Rider
so great.
segment. And then like, what was it? It was Dean's like rooting around his trunk.
He's like, oh.
And he's like, this is very uncomfortable.
One of my favorite parts is right after that when he slams the trunk and goes, ouch.
Yeah.
And
it's hilarious.
He says it like, oh, that's really uncomfortable.
yeah, exactly. Like in a proctology.
I was just curious, on staying on the Beeson thing for a moment. How did he end up in your world? Was he a random hire for Supernatural, or did you bring him in?
His first episode was Playthings, which was, when was it? Season 1, I want to say. Maybe season 2, but it was the one with like all the creepy dolls.
Right. That's great.
The little kid and the ghost and everything.
And that's falling in the pool, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was his first episode. He was just pitched to us. At that point, we were either his first American show or second. He was a British director with a really smart eye and a good reel, and we just brought him on and just kind of found him.
That's cool, man.
Really cool.
Yeah, he's
sorry I never met him.
So
he didn't he direct an episode in season 15, Rich?
He directed towards the end. Yeah, he directed one of the last episodes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
because I was there.
Yeah,
prepping.
He came back. Yeah, he came back.
Yeah, he was there prepping he was shooting when I was prepping in season 15, and I was so excited to go see him.
Yeah,
because I have not seen the man since season 5. This episode, and yet I knew all about him. I knew he had worked with Kripke. I knew he'd done Timeless. I knew he'd done Revolution. I thought he was the greatest guy. I just liked him so much, and I talked earlier in this episode with Rob about how he just was a gentleman's director and just gave the most succinct, simple note that changed everything. Like he was just so dialed in.
Yeah, it's funny. The exact word I was going to say is like, he's just one of the kindest gentlemen I've ever, like it's just a gentleman in the true sense of the word, in that perfectly British, but very warm way. He just was, I love the guy.
Yeah, same. One of the things that I thought was funny about spoofing Dr. Sexy is that you call the guy Dr. Sexy. Like the character's name.
Dr. Sexy.
He's named Dr. Sexy.
Which I had forgotten until I was watching it this time. I'm like, oh, they're not even trying to, it's not like Sexy Hospital, but it's Dr. Johnson. It's like, no, it's just Dr. Sexy.
Dr. Sexy MD. Yeah.
And we were laughing.
Jeffrey Sexy.
We were laughing that all the doctors are described as, oh, that's the sexy but neurotic nurse, whatever. Everyone is
Brilliant.
that's the
Yeah.
sexy
They're
but
always
brilliant
sexy.
surgeon.
Something but blah blah. Yeah, something but blah.
No, it's always
Yeah,
sexy,
sexy-
but something.
sexy, but-
right? If I remember correctly, it's coming back to me. I feel like we made a reference to Dr. Sexy before
Apparently,
we saw the episode.
You
of Dr.
did. We
Sexy.
found that
Apparently,
out.
in the
Yeah.
monster at the end of this book, my first episode, it's referenced that
Right.
that's why the publisher doesn't publish the books anymore or something. It says one of the reasons
Right. And
supernatural books went out of print.
Right. Yeah. No, that's exactly right. What season was
That's
that
season
first
4.
one? Was that
4.
That's season 4. I wonder if Grey's Anatomy was a problem for us then.
Might have been.
Maybe because the reference of like Grey's Anatomy will cancel Supernatural is definitely the subtext in that joke.
Okay.
Hilarious.
So even as just a call out,
Yeah.
right? I remember that of oh yeah, no, it was just some verbal
that's really
reference,
funny.
and then because I remember we distinctly talked about like because it was a book series. The book series was Dr. Sexy MD, right? Now I remember, and that there was it's so dumb the things you talk about in the room, and we're like, well, how did they make a TV show from those books? And then someone had to pitch. Well, the author of the book sold the series, and then they like made
That's
the
amazing.
series. We had to.
That's amazing.
Was it in the script?
I was just saying, I'm sure it was because that show's been on the air for like 22 years now. So I'm sure
Oh
it
my
was.
God.
Yeah.
Still on.
Yeah.
The Simpsons and then Grey's
Yeah.
Anatomy. In the designing of the episode, was it always the plan to have different credits? Not just the song, but the graphics are different. You know, was that always?
Oh yeah. I mean, you want to be as accurate to the different shows as you can, including like the fonts and the text and everything. If you remember, and I forget what season we did the very supernatural Christmas.
Right.
And it opens with that like turning
ABC
special.
swirl. Yeah.
It was CBS.
Oh, CBS, sorry.
But that was what they always played before, and as a kid, you're always like, oh, man, that's exciting. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is going to come on now.
Yeah.
And it meant the holidays. And it was like, really like, it rang a Pavlovian bell with me. And we got the rights to the actual song, but we couldn't get the rights to the title. And I was so obsessed about getting that right. I made our poor VFX, guys go through dozens of versions because I'm like, no, it's not quite right. It's not moving the way so I can get like obsessive about recreating some of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to go back in time and be a fly on the wall for, to watch a group of Supernatural fans the year and day this came out, to watch it start. Because they must have been going, what the fuck am I watching?
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, because it starts, you're like, click, click. Like, am I on the right?
Yeah.
Like, it looks
like
there's something else. And, we were reading in our sort of facts about the episode that one of the reasons why you guys reference the CSI, Miami, and Grey's Anatomy, because you were up against them in the time slot. And I told Rob, I said, everybody under 25 who hears us say that is now Googling, what's a time slot? Because the idea of having a TV show up against another show is no longer exists.
Yeah. No. And like where you're like, and by the way, we were never any, competing is a hilarious word. We aired the same time.
There you go. Hey, David and Goliath, man, you never know.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't talked about yet is the Japanese game show, which is so
Nutcracker.
good.
Genius.
That one was, if I remember correctly, that was purely from the pitch of like, isn't it funny to like hit these guys in the nuts?
That's funny.
And if I remember correctly, isn't it? Is it Jared? Who gets it? Is it Jared who gets it? Yeah, he keeps getting it over and over again. What Jared doesn't get enough credit for is like, he's a brilliant straight man when you can get him in a situation like that, where it's just his job to like fucking take the abuse deadpan. And I love him. I remember like, I just love him in that scene because he just keeps getting smashed in the nuts.
Dude,
there's no other reason. There's no,
that is such
a
a pitch of a bunch of people like, hey, how about this?
Totally.
It's like, yeah, let's do it. We have our own show now. We can do that.
Also,
we can hit the hot tall guy in the nards.
Yeah, no, that day we had a a writer's room exchange with Delta Phi fraternity, and they pitched it.
Exactly.
You know.
It won over the upside down keg stand. You know?
Yeah. And then for the same reason, I like that he's the one that has the herpes in the herpes commercial.
Yeah, right.
Same
I
thing,
mean,
yeah.
it's just sort of like Sam is, you know, like there's something about Dean where it's not as funny, because I think Dean I don't know. Frankly, let's be honest, Dean probably has her.
Correct, exactly.
Yeah, it would be too real.
Too on the nose, as it were.
Well, he'd blow it off. He'd be like, "What?
Yeah.
You just put on a couple days of cream and call her a day."
I know how to handle
Call
this.
it another Tuesday.
Right? He wouldn't even need he'd already have a lifetime.
Well, now
supply.
now in hindsight, it would have been a better endorsement for the product. I mean, he probably had some in his DOP kit already. Eric, it's awesome having you here.
No, it's so fun.
So
excited
fun
for the next
one.
one.
Yeah, me too.
Hey there, it's Misha Collins. If you're like me, you want a break from the sound of Richard Spate's voice, we'll be right back after this.
Hey, guess what? We're back.
Well, that was great. It was great to talk to Eric, and good news, we're going to have more of that interview on the next episode as well.
I gotta say, it's really flipping cool to have Kripke on. We don't get him much, and when we get him, it's always a bevy of entertainment and information.
It's good to go to the source, literally the source.
Well, time to move on from the source to the mythology. Now, I could just say that and we could go right into it, or I could say mythology.
Okay, so the Archangel Gabriel. Why don't you tell us about who that is, Richard?
Well, Robert, he's known to be the official massager of heaven. Oops, I misread that. Messenger. He's the official messenger of heaven. He announced the birth of John the Baptist to mankind. He also delivered the news to Mary about the birth of Jesus and dictated verses of the Quran to Muhammad. The dude was everywhere.
Well, so the dude was everywhere. Now, it makes me feel he's basically just someone who just gives news. He's like a news guy.
Yeah, he's a news guy. You ever seen Newsies? That's basically Gabriel.
You're like, how'd you know that John Baptist was born? Because of me.
Extra. John Baptist is born. John the Baptist. John T. Baptist.
Also delivered the news to Mary about the birth of Jesus. Don't you think Mary knew that she gave birth to Jesus?
I think she didn't know she was giving birth to the Son of God.
I
think she probably recognized she was pregnant.
Okay. Then she
was not feeling well and knew something was up.
It feels like she gave birth and then you showed up at the tent and you're like, hey, Mary, you just gave birth. She's like, I know that, Gabriel. Please give me a minute.
Thanks for the hot tip, Gabe. Would you please close the tent flap and let me be in the manger here by myself? I guess she wasn't in the manger, but you get my point.
Right, yeah. I don't know. I'm the one who said tent. I don't know where I got tent from. Mary's in a...
I don't know. Somehow Mary just gave birth in a circus as opposed to a stable.
The name Gabriel is composed of the first-person singular possessive form of the Hebrew noun gever, meaning man, and El, meaning God. This would make the translation of the archangel's name Man of God.
Man of God. In his epic poem, Paradise Lost, John Milton made Gabriel chief of the angelic guards placed over paradise, which was a good call because Gabriel's a heck of a leader.
I just feel like he's kind of the most boring of all the archangels, man.
What?
He gives news. Listen, what about me, John Milton? I'm making you chief of the guards. Chief of the guards. Yeah, the guards need a chief. Even the guards.
But wait a minute. Do I get to tell the guards news? Can I tell the guards some news
Sure,
every morning? Can I read to them from the Daily Gazette?
Sure.
All right.
Somebody's got to.
All right.
In art, Gabriel is often depicted with
a horn or a trumpet.
Yeah, that's what she said.
This painting of Rob Benedict, he's featured with the piccolo.
Now, a question that's burning on everyone's minds. Do you play the horn or the trumpet?
Man, you're just like lobbing jokes like crazy.
I'm just being inquisitive.
Oh, please.
All right, well, that's that. Those are the mythology facts about Gabriel.
Were you thinking the whole time? Forget it.
All right, let's start having some fun.
Okay, let's do it. With some facts? You want to mix in some facts?
Yes.
Okay. Fun facts! Fun facts! Fun facts! Fun
All right, the repeated use of the phrase doctor when addressing someone else in a hospital is a reference to the 1985 comedy Spies Like Us.
Oh,
Very
I
funny
didn't know that's
film.
where that came from. Yeah, it's very funny.
Doctor.
The opening credits, supernatural sitcom theme lyrics, which, by the way, are super clever, and the whole
So funny.
music and lyrics together are genius.
Yeah.
Those lyrics are written by Jay Greska, the great Jay Greska, and the great Jeremy Carver.
And by the way, we have to give props to Carver here. It's a great episode written by Jeremy Carver.
Amazing episode of TV. Amazing, super clever episode of TV.
Really terrific. Super, super clever.
At the time, and you have to go back in time to remember this,
Wow.
but in that period,
Okay.
in that window,
That's what that means, yeah.
there was actually on television at the time a
Okay.
real Japanese game show, similar to what they portrayed in the show, and it was called Say This Right, Nutcracker.
Or in Japanese, that translates to...
Happy fun boat that kills you.
Okay, so in the actual show here, they hit your nuts if you get it wrong? Is that a thing?
Weirdly, you answer questions, and regardless if you get it right or wrong, somebody hits you in the nuts.
Me.
Specifically, Rob Benedict.
All right. You're good for nothing. today.
Trying not to bend your piccolo in the process.
Yeah, you just go back to working your horn. All right. In the season 5 official companion from 2010, Richard Speight, Jr. said, "I would definitely visit 30 Rock. They seem to be having a lot of fun over there. I'd also want to be the bailiff on Judge Judy."
What does that have to do with anything? Oh, like where I would pop myself into? if I
Yeah,
were
it sounds
Gabriel?
like you. Yeah, this is where you would want to go if you were on another TV show.
Yeah, I would be the I would have been, what's his name? Oh, gosh. Rusty Burrell. Like, I
Rusty,
can't remember the name of
Yeah.
I would have been I liked Judge Judy back in the day. I liked 30
That's
Rock.
funny.
back
Do you
in
remember saying that? Do you deny saying that, or did you say
the
that?
day. Sir, are you on the record for having said that? I'll assume that I said it.
That sounds like you.
I like the fact, what I was laughing about it, in the season 5 official companion, her name is Janet. It's your official companion for season 5.
she was the
She'll
season
be here
5
to watch
official
all
companion.
season 5 with you and fill you in on all the details. The Hungarian title, well, I don't have to read this to you, Robbie. You know how this is pronounced.
Can we both take a shot?
Good Lord. I mean, there's words we don't have. Do we have an O with 2 lines over it? Is that looks like a Charlie Brown's head with hair.
Zemfeni Vesto.
Yeah, that's good. Zemfeni Vesto. That's good job. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Literally means eye blinder, the Hungarian word for tricksters and magicians.
You're
So
such a
that's the
freaking
Hungarian
eye
title.
blinder.
Oh, that's the Hungarian title. Sorry. That's the Hungarian title of this episode. Got it.
That's right. That's what that meant.
Delusive. What does delusive mean?
So it means delusive in English, but if you literally break the word down, it means eye blinder, which should be your new nickname.
Yeah.
Wow. Boy, oh boy, we did it.
That was a fun one, man. That was a good one.
Well, it should be. It's a fun episode, and I really feel like your character. This is a really cool peak for your character.
It was a good look. When you're a guest star on TV shows, you don't expect to get this caliber of episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with this much material and this nuanced a character written with all these levels, it's just this is what makes Supernatural a rare treat, not just for viewers but for actors.
For sure. Well said. All right. Anything else before we go?
I'd like to thank my parents. I'd like to thank my sisters who are always there for me. Certainly, obviously, my children, my wife, and Mr. Womack, who taught me art history in high school, who always believed that I could see art where there was none. And I believe that without his support, and of course, Coach Tommy Owen, who, though a football coach, steered me in so many positive directions in my life that I'd be loath not to mention him in this awards ceremony speech. It's just been an honor and a treat. And thank you, Academy, I guess. Thank you, everybody.
Richard Speight, everybody. All right. Good night. Thank you. See you later. This episode of Supernatural features Jared Padalecki as Sam Winchester, Jensen Ackles as Dean Winchester, Misha Collins as Castiel.
Guest stars included Richard Speight Jr., Steve Basic, Hiro Kanagawa, Sarah Jane Redmond, Richard Speight Jr., Christine Shaitlin, and William McDonald, alongside Richard Speight Jr.
I thought you were in this episode.
Nope, wrong episode.
Changing Channels was written by Jeremy Carver, directed by Charles Beeson.
Editing by Tom McQuaid, music by Jay Gruska.
Executive produced by Eric Kripke and Robert Singer.
This episode originally aired on November 5th, 2009.
This episode of Supernatural Then and Now was hosted and executive produced by Richard Speight Jr. and Rob Benedict.
Produced by Stephen Hine, written by Stephen Hine and Haida Holscher.
And it edited and associate produced by Trey Booty.
What's up, Booty?
Music provided by Tim Wynn.
The episode was recorded with the help of Sonic Fuel Studios.
This podcast is from Story Mill Media.
Follow the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at SPN Then and Now.
And become a member of the podcast at patreon.com/SPN Then and Now.
And that's the end of our show, everybody. Oh, Steve's recording now. Are you Googling something again?
Yeah, I'm Googling what I was going to say.
How does the computer know what you were going to say?
You're laughing at what it was. I was going to say, I'm going to give it the Chris Stapleton.
You had to look that up?
Well, which is the episode where you're in the porno? Jesus, you're just...
I don't remember, man. It's all numbers and letters, dude.
You know what we're doing a supernatural podcast here, right? You know that.
No, but I think it was an episode of CSI.
You don't have to give me my line. I know my line. Hi, everybody.
He's just giving you a line reading. He'd like you to do it like that.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Benedict.
And I'm Steve Hine.
I didn't even know where we were. I didn't know what we're talking about. You're throwing names at me. I wasn't ready. You're a jerk. 2 episodes. This episode and the following episode. I really feel like I just want to say, are you laughing because I said episode? All right, Steve, you're good for nothing. Honestly, you're good for nothing. But
Steve is good for nothing? He produces the show.
So he just told me it is indeed mystery spot. To break the stalemate, Gabriel brings Castiel back.
Who?
Gabriel.
Gabriel? Oh, Hammer of the Gods.
Hammer of the Gods. There it is. There he remembered.
Yeah.
He's still
if
with
you
us.
just quit yapping, I get to remember things.
Oh, man. Someone's got to read the summary. It's not going to read itself.
Well, until AI takes over. Believe me, we are weeks away from this podcast being hosted by Robot Rob and Robot Rich.
Yeah, and Steve was never happier.
Story Mill Media.
Hey there, this is Justin Bartha. I made a funny new podcast, King of the Egg Cream. It has the greatest cast in the history of podcasts with actors like Louis Black.
I'm torn by my feelings for 2 women.
Bobby Cannavale.
You can eat it, or if someone hits you, you can put it on your cut.
Melanie Linsky.
I wonder what these marvelous things are that look just like boiled chicken feet.
Jason Ritter.
I can break things and pick locks and kill people.
Michael Stuhlbarg.
The whole point is to inspire people that they should make themselves better.
Ari Grainer.
No, don't whet its appetite. What are you, an idiot?
Me, Justin Bartha.
That's not just any egg cream, that's a Lemke's special.
And all narrated by the hilarious Richard Kind.
This is the story of Harry Dalowitz and how he rose from nothing to become New York's King of the Egg Cream.
So if you like funny true stories, come listen to King of the Egg Cream, available wherever you get your podcasts.